They say love is blind, but I never knew it could be deadly. The man I cooked for, slept beside, bathed with, kissed goodnight, was the one slowly killing me. My name is Zainab, and this is how I discovered that the most dangerous poison isn't found in bottles, it's found in the hands of someone you trust completely. It took me 8 months to realize that every I love you came with a side of death.
Let me take you back to the beginning. Gwarimpa Estate, Abuja, 2022. Our house was the envy of every woman in our neighborhood. Pristine white walls, marble floors that reflected the chandelier's light like tiny stars, and a kitchen that looked like something from a magazine. Idris would wake up every morning at 5:30 a.m., kiss my forehead, and whisper, "Good morning, my queen." He'd make tea, always insisting on making mine personally while I showered. "A man should serve his wife," he'd say, with that charming smile that made my heart flutter, even after 3 years of marriage. I remember our wedding day at the International Conference Center. I was 26, fresh from the University of Lagos with a degree in business administration. Idris was 34, successful, and everything my mother had prayed for. "Zainab," she whispered as she adjusted my veil, "this man will take care of you. But remember, marriage is about partnership, not ownership." If only I had listened. The first year was a fairy tale. Idris bought me a car, a sleek silver Honda that I barely drove because he preferred to take me everywhere himself. "Why stress yourself, my love? I'm here to make your life easy." He said it with such tenderness that I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. When he suggested I quit my job at Sterling Bank, I hesitated for exactly 5 minutes. "Zainab, we don't need two incomes. I want you to focus on making our home perfect, on taking care of yourself, on us." His hands were gentle on my shoulders, his voice like warm honey. "Besides, what's the point of working when your husband can provide everything?" So, I resigned. I gave up my independence, my colleagues, my dreams of climbing the corporate ladder. For love. For him. For us. By the second year, my world had shrunk to the size of our house. My best friend Kemi would call, and Idris would answer. "Oh, she's sleeping," he'd say, even when I was right there. "You know how tired she gets. I'll tell her you called." But he never did. My sister Amina tried to visit once. I was excited. I hadn't seen her in months. I cleaned the house extra thoroughly, made her favorite jollof rice with goat meat. But when she arrived, Idris met her at the gate. "She's not feeling well today," I heard him say through the window. "Maybe next week?" When I confronted him, his explanation was so reasonable. "Baby, you were complaining of a headache just this morning. I didn't want you to stress yourself entertaining when you needed rest. That's what a caring husband does. He protects his wife's health." His logic was flawless. His concern seemed genuine. How could I argue with love? Slowly, carefully, he built a wall around me, not with bricks and mortar, but with care and concern and logical explanations that made me grateful for my isolation rather than questioning it.
It started with nausea. Month 18 of marriage, I began throwing up every morning. My heart leaped. Could I be pregnant? Idris was equally excited, rubbing my back as I hunched over the toilet bowl. "We should see a doctor," I suggested, wiping my mouth with a towel. "Let's wait a few more days," he said, his hand warm on my forehead. "Sometimes stress can mimic pregnancy symptoms. You've been working so hard on the house." But the nausea persisted. Along with it came fatigue that felt like someone had drained all the energy from my bones. I'd sleep for 12 hours and wake up more tired than when I went to bed. "It's definitely pregnancy," Idris would say, bringing me ginger tea that he'd prepared specially. My mother had terrible morning sickness with all her children. This ginger tea was her secret remedy. The tea tasted bitter, with an aftertaste that lingered long after I'd finished the cup. but Idris was so attentive, so caring, that I drank every drop. 3 pregnancy tests, all negative. Maybe it's too early, Idris said, gathering the tests and disposing of them quickly. These things aren't always accurate. Let's give it another month. But deep in my stomach, alongside the constant nausea, a different kind of sickness was growing, the sickness of doubt. Idris had always been particular about food, but around month 20 of our marriage, it became an obsession. He'd wake up early to prepare my breakfast, pack my lunch if I was going anywhere, and always insist on cooking dinner. "Cooking is how I show love," he'd say, stirring a pot of pepper soup that smelled divine but left me feeling queasy hours later. My grandmother taught me that the way to keep a marriage strong is through the stomach. I appreciated it, truly. What woman wouldn't love a husband who cooked? But there were oddities. He never ate what I ate. Never. There was always an excuse. I had a heavy lunch at the office. I'm trying a new diet. I already ate while cooking. You know how I pick while I prepare. When I offered to cook, he'd gently take the spoon from my hands. "Baby, you're not feeling well. Let me take care of you." His voice was so tender, his touch so gentle, that I'd sink back into the couch, grateful to be married to such a caring man. But why did he always watch me eat? Those dark eyes fixed on my mouth as I chewed, following each swallow down my throat like he was memorizing the process.
Zainab! Oh my God, I've missed your voice. Kemi, my best friend from university, my maid of honor, the sister of my heart. Somehow she'd gotten through to me directly while Idris was at work. Kemi! I was so happy to hear from her that tears sprang to my eyes. When was the last time I talked to a friend? Really talked? Babe, what's going on with you? I've been trying to reach you for months. Idris keeps saying you're not available, but I'm starting to worry. You've disappeared. I'm fine, I said automatically. The response Idris had trained into me. Just adjusting to married life, you know how it is. No, I don't know how it is. Marriage doesn't mean vanishing from the world, Zainab. Can I come see you? Today? Before I could answer, I heard Idris's car in the driveway. My heart jumped to my throat. I have to go. I'll call you back. Zainab, wait! I hung up just as Idris walked through the door, his smile bright as sunshine. Who was that, my love? Wrong number. I lied and hated myself for it. But Kemi didn't give up. 3 days later, she showed up at our house unannounced. I was in the bedroom when the doorbell rang, and I heard Idris answer it. "She's very sick today. Food poisoning. I don't think you should come in. It might be contagious." Food poisoning. From the meal he'd prepared the night before. Kemi's voice was sharp, concerned. Food poisoning? Maybe I should take her to the hospital, or at least see her for myself. "I'm a trained first aid provider. I've got everything under control. She's sleeping now, but I'll tell her you came by." Footsteps walking away, car door slamming. I wanted to run to the window, to call out to her, to beg her to take me away, but my legs felt like lead, and my head was spinning, and Idris's explanation would be so reasonable when he came upstairs. "Your friend was worried. I told her you have food poisoning. These will help settle your stomach." I took the pills without question. After all, he was taking care of me. The call came at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday night in November. Idris answered before I was fully awake. "What? When?" "Oh no. Yes, we'll be there." He turned to me, his face grave in the dim light from his phone. "Zainab, I have bad news. It's about Kemi." My blood turned to ice water. "What about Kemi?" She collapsed at home yesterday evening. They rushed her to the hospital, but, baby, She didn't make it. She's gone. Gone. Kemi was gone, my vibrant, healthy, 28-year-old best friend who had just been trying to visit me 3 weeks ago. How? I whispered, and my voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. They think it was her heart. Sometimes these things just happen. Young people, you never know. I'm so sorry, my love. He held me while I cried, his hands stroking my hair, making soothing sounds. But even through my grief, something felt wrong. Kemi had the strongest heart of anyone I knew. She ran marathons, she was vegetarian, she meditated. At the funeral, her mother grabbed my hands with desperate strength. She kept talking about you, Zainab, right up to the end. She was worried about you. She said something wasn't right, that your husband was... Mama, she's grieving, Idris interrupted gently, his hand firm on my shoulder. Let's not add to her pain with difficult conversations. But I heard her. I heard what she was trying to say. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, while Idris slept peacefully beside me. Kemi had tried to warn me about something. What was it she had seen that I... It was a Wednesday morning, month 26 of marriage. I was folding laundry in the bedroom when Idris's phone rang. He was in the shower, and the ringing was persistent, loud. I glanced at the screen. Hawa, it said. I didn't recognize the name. The ringing stopped, then started again immediately. Then again. Idris, I called. Your phone won't stop ringing. Someone called Hawa. Don't touch it. His voice was sharp, sharper than I'd ever heard it. I'll call them back. But the ringing again, and this time it went to voicemail automatically. The speaker volume was up high, and in the quiet of the bedroom, I heard everything. A year's. Please, I can't keep doing this. The money you promised, I need it now. I did what you asked with the girl who kept visiting. I got the stuff you wanted. I put it in her drink at the restaurant like you said. But she's dead now, and I can't live with this. The other thing, the stuff for your wife, I can't keep bringing it. This is murder, Idris. Murder! Idris stood in the doorway, water still dripping from his hair, his face a mask I'd never seen before. Cold. Calculating. Nothing like the warm, loving man I thought I'd married. You heard that, he said. It wasn't a question. My mouth opened and closed like a fish. The words she'd said were circling in my mind like vultures. The stuff for your wife. This is murder. I don't understand, I whispered. His expression shifted, and suddenly he was my loving husband again. The mask slipped back into place so smoothly that I almost believed I'd imagined the coldness. Baby, that woman is mentally ill. She's been stalking me at work, making up stories. I've been trying to handle it gently, but... He sat on the bed, his hand reaching for mine. But I pulled my hand away. For the first time in our marriage, I pulled away from his touch. She mentioned Kemi, I said quietly. She said something about putting something in her drink. Zainab, you're not thinking clearly. Grief can make us paranoid. And she mentioned stuff for your wife. For me. That night, while Idris slept, I did something I'd never done before. I searched for his things. My hands shook as I went through his home office, through his car, through the pockets of clothes he'd worn. I didn't even know what I was looking for. Evidence of what? That my husband was... what? A killer? In his car's glove compartment, wrapped in a cloth and hidden behind the owner's manual, I found a small brown bottle. The label was partially torn, but I could make out some words. Arsenic, small doses, cumulative. Arsenic. I knew that word from crime shows, from mystery novels I'd read in my previous life when I had time to read. Arsenic was poison. Slow poison. My hands were trembling so badly I almost dropped the bottle. Inside were several white pills, innocent looking as aspirins. "These will help settle your stomach," I remembered Idris saying every time I felt sick. "My grandmother's special remedy." I thought of every meal he'd insisted on preparing, every cup of tea he'd made specially for me, every pill he'd given me for my mysterious illnesses. He wasn't taking care of me. He was killing me. Slowly, methodically, lovingly killing me. But why? Back in the house, I went through his desk with new eyes. In a locked drawer that I managed to pry open with a kitchen knife, I found documents that shattered what remained of my world. A marriage certificate, but not ours. Idris Abdullahi, married to Hawa Muhammad, dated 6 months before our wedding, in Kaduna. Insurance papers with my name on them. A life insurance policy worth 25 million naira that I'd never signed, but there was my signature somehow. My signature on a document that would make Idris very, very wealthy if I died? And then the final piece. A diary, half burned as if someone had tried to destroy it but given up halfway through. Day 47. She's getting sicker. Good. The arsenic is working perfectly. Small doses like Hawa suggested. No one will suspect anything. They'll think it's her weak constitution, maybe a genetic condition. Day 52. Her friend is becoming a problem. Kemi keeps trying to visit, asking too many questions. I might need Hawa to handle this. Day 89. Problem solved. Hawa met with Kemi at that restaurant in Wuse 2, slipped the big dose into her drink when she went to the bathroom. Should look like a heart attack. Now nothing stands between me and the money. Day 156. Zainab is asking questions about the medicine I give her. I told her they're vitamins. She believes everything I say. Stupid woman. By month 30, she'll be gone and I'll be free to live openly with Hawa and Kaduna. 26 months of marriage, 4 months left in his timeline. 4 months before he planned to kill me completely? The next evening, I did something that surprised even me. I cooked dinner. "What's this?" Idris asked, coming into the kitchen to find me stirring a pot of his favorite okra soup. "I wanted to surprise you," I said, my voice steady despite the hurricane in my chest. "You've been taking such good care of me. I thought it was time I took care of you." His eyes narrowed slightly, but then his charming smile returned. "You didn't have to do that, my love. You know I enjoy cooking for you." "I know, but tonight let me serve you." I ladled the soup into 2 bowls, making sure to give him the larger portion. The bowl I'd prepared specially for him, the way he'd been preparing mine for over 2 years. "It smells wonderful," he said, but he wasn't moving to eat. He was watching me, the way he always watched me eat. "Try it," I encouraged, settling across from him with my own bowl. "You first," he said softly. "Ladies first." "No," my voice was firm. "You've been working so hard, you deserve to eat first." For the first time in our marriage, I saw fear in my husband's eyes. Real fear. "Zainab, what did you put in this soup?" "The same thing you've been putting in my food for 2 years. Your grandmother's special recipe." His face went white. "You don't understand what you're doing." "Oh, but I do." I reached into my pocket and placed the brown bottle on the table between us. "I understand perfectly. Small doses, cumulative effect, looks like natural illness." He started to stand, but I was faster. "Sit down, Idris. Or should I call the police right now and show them your diary, the one where you wrote about killing me and Kemi?" He sat. "You're going to eat," I said quietly, "every drop, the way you made me eat every drop for 26 months. Zainab, please, eat." He ate 3 spoonfuls before his hand started shaking. "How much did you put in?" "Does it matter? You were planning to kill me in 4 months anyway." But I hadn't actually poisoned him. The soup was clean. I'd made it with nothing but love and justice and the bitter taste of betrayal. What he was feeling was fear, pure and simple. The fear I'd lived with, unknowingly, for over 2 years. The police are already on their way. I lied smoothly. Hawa confessed everything this afternoon. Did you really think she'd stay loyal to a man who made her an accomplice to murder? But I hadn't called the police yet. Those sirens were just coincidence, heading somewhere else in the city. But Idris didn't know that. He broke.
The trial lasted 6 months. Hawa, faced with evidence of her involvement in Kemi's murder, cooperated fully with the police. She led them to the supplier who'd been providing the arsenic. She testified about the insurance fraud, the forged signatures, the systematic plan to murder me slowly enough that no one would suspect. Idris got 25 years for attempted murder and conspiracy. Hawa got 15 as an accessory. I testified for 3 days, telling the court about the isolation, the control, the slow poisoning disguised as love. The prosecutor called it one of the most calculating cases of domestic violence she'd ever seen. The day the verdict was read, I walked out of that courthouse a different woman than the one who'd walked in. Stronger, angrier, more awake than I'd been in years.
Today, 18 months later, I run a shelter for women escaping domestic violence. It's called Kemi's House in honor of my friend who died trying to save me. We've helped 43 women so far, women who were isolated from their families, women whose husbands controlled their every move, women who were being slowly destroyed by the men who claimed to love them. I speak at conferences now, telling my story, the woman who almost died from blind trust, the wife who learned that love doesn't control, it doesn't isolate, and it certainly doesn't poison. Sometimes people ask me if I regret trusting him so completely. The answer is complex. I regret not listening to the people who tried to warn me. I regret giving up my independence so easily. I regret questioning why love felt so much like a cage. But I don't regret learning what real strength looks like.
My name is Zainab, and I'm a survivor. I'm the woman who almost died from trusting too much, who almost lost herself in someone else's definition of love. If you're listening to this and something sounds familiar, if your partner isolates you, if they control your food, your friends, your freedom, if love feels like a prison dressed up as paradise, please know that you're not alone. Love doesn't kill. Obsession does. Trust your instincts. Question the gifts that feel like chains. And remember, the most beautiful cage is still a cage. This is my story. This is my survival. And this is my promise to every woman listening. Your voice matters. Your freedom matters. And your life is worth fighting for. The man I trusted blindly tried to poison more than my food. He tried to poison my spirit, my independence, my very sense of self. But poison only works if you keep swallowing it. I stopped swallowing his lies. And I lived to tell you this story.
If this story touched your heart, opened your eyes, or reminded you of the strength that lies within every woman, please don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button to show your support for survivors everywhere. Subscribe to this channel, and most importantly, share this video with your friends, your families, your sisters, your daughters, because knowledge is the first line of defense against the kind of manipulation Zainab experienced. Your engagement helps YouTube show this story to women who might need to hear it most. Together, we can break the silence that keeps dangerous men protected and vulnerable women isolated.